Dear students, good morning everyone. So, in this section, we have to be discussing about the Unit 5, Disaster Management Unit 5, a really important topic. And I, the unit point of maximum one of the main content, it's nothing but about disaster management. It's already we are discussing in first aid, but having a more important, especially if entire of the course of disaster management course point of. So disaster management. Disaster management can be defined as the organization and management and of the resources and responsibilities. So maximum disaster management has to be defined as a organization and management of resources and responsibilities. Here, especially responsibilities means nothing but human responsibilities for dealing with all the human related aspects of emergencies. Maybe emergency of the flood emergency time, or maybe earthquake emergency time, or maybe landslides emergency time. So maybe disaster management play a key role, important aspect also. So particularly disaster management having different stages, those stages point of those each and every segment point of. So number one is preparedness, number two is response, number three is recovery. So these are the preparedness and response recovery aspects, or these are aspects or maximum prevent and controlled and reduced by the impact of the disaster as possible as reduce the impact of the disaster. Disaster management is well planned. Nothing but is well planned and maximum why we have a well planned technique. So for why which purpose? Nothing but to reduce hazards or disasters related impacts or effects point of. So these are techniques, disaster management technique play a crucial role, important role. Disaster management focus on planning, minimize the impact of disaster. Disaster management focus on planning to minimize the impact of disaster. So already we are discussing about every disaster. When we are properly maintain a good disaster management strategy. So indirectly or directly we must be reduce or minimize the impact of the disaster. Disaster management mostly save or conservation of lives and natural resources and property and environmental area. So maybe any disaster maximum caused for loss of life, loss of the property and loss of the environmental area. So when we are properly maintained or when we are follow the good strategy of disaster management, so then we are automatically we can be safe or conservation of the lives and in property and environmental area and natural resource also we have to be conservation when we are following of good disaster management. Just to include the disaster management, it includes coordination, command or control, fast recovery, repairing of damage, communication system, transport system. So maybe unfortunately, for example, flood disaster will be happening. That disaster maximum caused for effects caused by the so sorry effects affected by the communication system, transport system, maybe loss of the life and all the same time of maybe agriculture, all the agricultural lands also overlapped by the water or maybe submerged by the agricultural lands also with rainwater or flood water point of. So maybe all the effects will be there. That affects recovery point of rehabilitation point of. They must be doing some commands and also control and fast recovery point of disaster management work. Disaster management mostly play important role, crucial role in disaster management time. So involve different types of teams in the disaster time. Different types of teams will be involved. NDRF team, National Disaster Response Force, SDRF team, State Disaster Response Force, and rescue team. Maximum which persons are mostly struck in disaster. They have to be there in disaster, maybe very emergency conditions those persons saving point of a rescue team will be involved. So next of all, the medical team, maybe some persons seriously injured, some persons get some fevers or viral fevers or diseases, those persons recovery point of medical team also will provide some medicines and treatment. So next of all, maybe these are all the NDR team, SDR team, NGOs, and rescue team, where with different types of teams, different types of organizations, different types of government organizations, mostly provide primary needs, maybe food, drinking water, and different types of water or shelter, and also maybe some of the clothes point, sometimes of us are wearing clothes point have also. So main with respect to the maintain law and order, so with not having any effect, not having any disturbance of the law and order point of, they must be maintain law and order at the same time of they have to be provide same primary needs also. So why? Because of these are all things we'll be doing, because why this much of importance given for disaster management, especially in India? Why? Because of India having different unique climatic conditions and different geoclimatic conditions it having. So typical climatic conditions, for example, different types of natural disasters mostly affect to the Indian subcontinent. For example, point of floods. Recently, Budumeru River point of maybe maximum Vijayawada mostly affected in Andhra Pradesh. At the same time of Paleru River, Paleru Vagu, Paleru River or channel overflowing point of maybe entire Khammam city in Telangana mostly affected. So especially cyclones point of this month last week, Bay of Bengal having a cyclone. That cyclone maximum caused for the most affected by the Tirupati and nothing but Nellore and Prakasam districts. The same time of Tamil Nadu area mostly affected also. So maybe landslides, for example, landslides point of recently Wayanad in Kerala district. So different types of disasters mostly affected by the Indian subcontinent. So see here maximum different disaster management point of images will be there. So one image has to be represented by the disaster management phases. So mainly already we are discussing about this slide. So preparedness and response recovery initially added by the mitigation process. So first of all, maybe before the disaster point of, we must be preparedness. We must be ready, and also next of all response as possible as we respond. The disaster reducing point of, controlling point of, mitigation. Controlling point of, we must be responsible. Maybe nothing but government point of view or central government point of, state government point of view must be response immediately. So if you respond immediately, maximum we mitigation process as possible as implemented. We are not able to respond, we are not doing any mitigation process. When have to be prepared before disaster point of, estimate disaster effect point of, we must be having some response. When we have to immediately respond, the mitigation process, mitigation strategy have to be implemented. When we are mitigation strategy implemented successfully, automatically we must be reduce or recoveries will be recovery also will take less time. We are not able to respond or preparedness, we are doing not mitigation, but recovery point of it take too much of time, long time it will be required. And the slide also be same disaster, another image was disaster management cycle. Prepare pre-impact or emergency restoration and reconstruction and comparability building, capacity building. So here also preparation and also response, recovery, mitigation, preparation and also response, recovery, mitigation. This is continuous cycle. For example, we are as college point of, so we want we decide we went for an educational tour. For example, we went for Kulu Manali point of. That is thought. That is the thought is we want we are those students are expected to went for a plan for preliminary educational tour. So in this point of they have well prepared what they are prepared, maybe that climatic condition very cold, so must be they have to be psychologically what to do what not to do, what they have to prepare. And also recovery response point of responsibility point of must be to kept to must be to take away very warm clothes warm way, because of the very cold conditions will be there. That cold condition overcome point of they must be take with them some warm clothes, right? So maybe when is when more temporary more minus degrees Celsius will be there. Mitigation point of that temperature mitigation point of must be doing some firing, maintain some firing camps. So maybe water maybe the successfully completing the task point of the tour point of they have to be doing this all process. Here also before disaster point of step one must be maintained preparedness and also response and mitigation and recovery. So here also the third slide having different types of disasters images will be there. Maybe flights point of or maybe droughts point of or snowfall point of or nuclear bomb explosion point of cyclones point of or wildfire point of landslides point of different types of images will be represented. These all disasters will be happen, will be occur frequently in our Indian subcontinental climatic conditions. So next one of the topic is main content disaster management act. So this much of the effect, most of the peoples will be dead. Most of the peoples facing problems. Those problems, those effects, reducing point of or controlling disaster impact, controlling prevention point of central government of India make a act Disaster Management Act 2005. So the Disaster Management Act was proposed by the first of all proposed by the Lok Sabha since 28/11 to 2005. So by the Rajya Sabha on 12 December 2005 has to be promoted. So it received the assistant of the President of India on 9 January 2006. So the act called for the establishment of the National Disaster Management Authority. So that Disaster Management Act establishment National Disaster Management Authority NDMA. So in this NDMA program with Prime Minister of India as the chairman. So in that program, in this as a national government program, so Prime Minister of India as chairperson. So NDMA program or maybe that having not that program, not more than 9 members will be worked, maybe included in that, including vice chairman also. Only 9 members will be working that one. So their maximum service time is 5 years only. The maximum working service or many service time is 5 years only. Okay, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years only. So 5 years only. So next of all, NDM is responsible for laying down the policies, plans, and guidelines for disaster management. So maybe disaster management authorities point out they have to be provide some guidelines, provide some guidelines and also policies and rules and responsibility has to be suggested the NDMA. So first of all, the main aim is to reduce the impact and means response immediately. Okay, so under the section of six of that act is responsible for laying down guidelines. So to be followed by the state authorities in drawing of the country. So maximum here guidelines are the guidelines of section 6A 6 point of the act responsible laying down the guidelines to following by the state. Every state authorities, state disaster management authority must be worked under controlling of the NDMA. So next content, different stages of disaster management. Yes, disaster management having different stages. So mostly broadified, classified. Three types of stages will be there. Pre-disaster stage, preparedness is main important, plays a key role, important role. Next one, emergency stage, disaster phase, disaster time. Post-disaster stage, rehabilitation, recovery time. Before disaster, pre-disaster stage, emergency, disaster phase, post-disaster, rehabilitation, recovery stage. So here, different stages of stages will be there. So first of all, having the disaster time. The image is also represented by the disaster. So while disaster is red indication, response of the yellowish color, response and recovery, mitigation controlling point or mitigation preparation on the green color. So this entire cycle it will be going on one by one, one by one, one by one. So maybe whatever it may be, these finally ultimately to must be save the lives and save the property and save the environment and save the ecosystem as possible as conservation of the natural resource point of these are all type of things will be working. These all type of stages will be working. So maybe this point of every national, first of all, national wide one phase will be the national disaster management authority, and second stage is state disaster management authority, and third one the district disaster management authority. So like step by step, maybe national disaster management rules and regulations passed to the state disaster management authority. The state disaster management authority has passed the rules and regulations, and some implementation acts passed to the district disaster management authority. So one by one, step by step, ultimate aim is to reduce impact, to save the loss of life, loss of the property, and conservation or saving of natural resources and ecosystem. Thank you, dear students. I hope you understand everyone. So it's one of the basic concept entire of the disaster management course. So I conclude this section. I hope you understand everyone. I hope everyone understand for this concept.